Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So last episode, we simulated the entire first year season, and we only won 5 games, which was to be expected because obviously we have a terrible team still. But we did get some good progress in terms of our prospects because our prospects started to develop a little bit, including Morales, who's our top prospect at the moment. He's up to his 77 overall now, and I'm expecting him to be in the 80s by the end of next season. We also got some good potential progress from our fringe starter goaltender in Janssen, who's up to a 62. Miganov jumped up to a 61, same with Goldobin. Christopoulos jumped up to a 58 and Holloway up to a 57. So hopefully those guys continue to get some good development because this year's draft is also going to be very important to this team's progress and hopefully for us to have a chance at winning a Stanley Cup. But before we get into the draft, we do have a few comments to go over. But first, I want to note that a lot of you guys want me to take Jääskeläinen in the draft, which is definitely going to be our pick. Because if we look at the draft this year, it is the Shane Wright draft. Shane Wright is obviously a good player, high elite potential. Same with Brad Lambert, both really good players. But Jääskeläinen is a gem. He's a medium elite. And if you look at his stats as compared to these other two guys, he is technically better overall wise. So he's technically as good as the normal first overall pick. Like he's probably going to be like an 83 overall out of the draft, I'm assuming, maybe an 82. But he's not going to have as high as a potential as Shane Wright. We do have second overall, so we would have to choose between Lambert and Jääskeläinen, which obviously we choose Jääskeläinen. Now, there is a few comments like from Hawksfan88. He says that he thinks it would be smarter for us to take Ribeiro, which I could definitely see the argument for taking somebody like Ribeiro, because Ribeiro obviously being a defenseman and a medium elite defenseman. We do need to build up our defensive core. But right now, obviously, the gem is going to be a lot better of a pick because Jääskeläinen is way better than Ribeiro. And Ribeiro is technically like 1 year away, so he's probably going to be like a 77 out of the draft, my guess, somewhere around that range. And obviously, if he's also a defensive defenseman, I feel like after his ELC, he might end up wanting like a shit ton of money. And obviously, I don't really want to give a guy like this guy, like a defensive defenseman, like $15 million. So I think Jääskeläinen has to be probably our pick, considering there's like 7 or so of you guys that said to take Jääskeläinen. And then I also posted that on Twitter, and a lot of you guys said to take Jääskeläinen as well there. So we are definitely going to be taking Jääskeläinen with our first pick. And then the other comment I wanted to go over was from Travis31. He says, from joining my own draft to glory, I'm in year 6, and finding good defensemen are hard, so I say choose the defenseman. So this is another argument for the defenseman. Forwards you could always find, especially when you're doing when you upgrade your scouts every year and have the best possible scouts. You could find some hidden gems. For the future, line chemistry is a must. I went from no chemistry to +1 to +3 on all lines in 1 year, and we almost made the playoffs. So trying to find guys with the same chemistry, it will help you in the future of your team. And then he also said that he tried to find a coach early on, but you only win like 5 or 10 games, so the coaches kind of drop down in terms of their rating from like a B to a C minus. But he said try and get all coaches to have A+ teaching for growth, but finding players with somewhat the same chemistry will definitely help you in the long run. So we definitely want to get that chemistry to be really good with our coaches, but if we can also find coaches with A+ in teaching, that will definitely help with our growth, and then we would definitely be a good contending team at some point. So yeah, we're not going to look for a new coach this offseason. We're probably going to wait till our current coach's contract ends. That way we could find maybe a new fit for this team, and hopefully the coach ends up fitting well with a lot of our younger guys that we are going to have in our lineup. So anyways, those are the comments I'd like to go over, considering a lot of you guys just said to take Jääskeläinen in this draft because he is going to be a stud of a player for us and hopefully the future of this team alongside some guys like Morales, for example. So yeah, let's get into this draft and get our progress, prospects, and get some progress hopefully next season. Hopefully we can win maybe a little bit more than 5 games, but I'm still not really saying that we're going to definitely do that. So I did write down which players we're going to take probably in this draft already, because there's a guy in the second round that looks really good. Like he has a 1-year ETA, so we're more than likely going to be taking that guy. So basically for the first round I wrote down Jääskeläinen. There's a guy named Karostin in the second round, which I will show you. There's a defenseman in the third round that's kind of intriguing. It has the 3-year ETA and he's a gem. In Turris we might take. There's a goaltender in the 4th round. There's another defenseman in the 5th round. Sixth round, I don't really know anybody that go after in the sixth round, so we'll take a look when we get there. And the seventh round has a bottom six forward, so we might be able to address our defensive needs still in later rounds, which will be good. And then hopefully get another goalie in so we could have a backup behind Janssen for next season. But anyways, let's see what Philadelphia takes at number 1, which more than likely will be Shane Wright. And yes, they will. So 78 overall for Shane Wright. Obviously, we're definitely taking Jääskeläinen here, which will leave Brad Lambert going to Arizona. Jääskeläinen should be interesting. He has no weaknesses whatsoever, and he obviously has some X factors. He's a good passer, good shutdown player, good defensive player, and very good at faceoffs, which should help us win those all-important defensive zone draws, I think. So, Raimo, welcome to the Houston Sharpshooters. And he is a 78 as well, so actually not a high overall than Shane Wright, which is kind of a surprise to me. But 78 out of the draft is still pretty solid. A little bit weaker than I liked, but he is all around a really good player. Like, his faceoffs aren't that great yet, but they probably will develop considering he's a natural center. But his skating is really solid. His physical is really solid. Like, literally, there's no weakness with this guy whatsoever. Should be interesting to see how he plays in his first season here in Houston. Let's just take a look at the next few picks. So Brad Lambert, 76 overall. Seattle is going to take Savoy. And Ottawa at 5 is going to take Juracek, or however you pronounce that last name. Let's move to our next pick at number 34 and see if we could get this Korostin guy that I wanted. And yes, we can, which is perfect. So I could go after the defenseman in Bryson Appleby, but this guy's a guaranteed top 6 defenseman, which doesn't really scream anything interesting to me. And then I don't really like drafting real players to an extent, so I think Korostin should be definitely the best fit. He's an X factor, and if his stats are accurate, that's pretty good stats. It says he has no weakness at the moment. He might be a good playmaker. And then you look and he has a guaranteed 1-year ETA, which is really awesome. He also is similar to Marcel Dion, which is pretty good. So we are going to be taking Dmitry Korostin, who's only 17, and if he has a 1-year ETA, he could be a really good NHL player by the time he's 18. So welcome aboard. He's a 73 top 6 sniper. That's actually pretty good. Top 6 sniper with 73 overall. That's a really good pickup, actually. He actually has some pretty good shooting attributes, too. We put him next to a good playmaker. He might actually have a pretty good year with our team. So we're actually developing, getting some really good prospects in the first 2 drafts. He also does have a X factor, well, superstar ability in shock and awe, so he could dangle and score goals, hopefully, for us. So there's our future goal scorer to put on the top line probably this upcoming season. Let's send to our 3rd round pick, and I wrote down to take a defenseman in Turris, which I think I still will because he's a low top 4. I have seen low top 4s develop before, and he is a gem, which is kind of intriguing. And if you look, he has also a 3-year ETA, which is pretty good for an 18-year-old. So Roger Turris, welcome aboard. He's probably going to be like a 60-something. Yep, 62 overall, 2-way defenseman. That's not too bad either. Definitely a good addition to our defensive core, hopefully. His shooting's actually pretty solid for a defenseman. Like, he doesn't really have a weakness. So, yeah, that's a really nice one. Hopefully he develops into being something crucial for this team. And now we go to the 4th round. There was a goaltender. I think I got to still go with this goalie. Now, there's argument for going after, like, another forward, another defenseman, but this goaltender might be a medium elite goaltender. Obviously, it's going to take him a while to develop, considering he's only 17. But still, if he's getting a lot of playing time, maybe he will develop at a little bit of a faster rate. So we are going to be taking in Stefan Soderstrom from, where is it? Skellefteå. And let's see how good he is. He is a medium elite goaltender, so that might be the goaltender of our future. He's a 48 overall, but he will be our backup for this upcoming season. Hopefully he develops into being that elite goaltender, because that is a pretty nice pick if I'm not tooting my horn a little bit. 5th round we go to, and I wrote down Dubnyk, who is that defenseman, so I think I'll probably still take him here. He's a right-handed defenseman, which is nice. He's a guaranteed 2-way defenseman as well. He doesn't have as good of attributes as somebody like, who was that dude we just drafted, Turris, but he still might be decent. He's 19 years old, but we will take him and get another defenseman into our system. And he's a 7th D, so that's not great. But at 60 overall, I'll take that. Yeah, I think he can play in our lineup. Maybe he'll develop into being like a 76 or 75 if he actually gets that 7th D potential. But I'll take it, I guess, because of the overall. We go to the 6th round, which I didn't know who I was going to be taking. We could take another goalie, but I don't really think it's mandatory for us to take another goalie. He has a 5-year ETA, which is a long time still. He's 19. I am going to leave this goalie that I tweeted about this before. There's a guy named Dallas goalie in the draft, so I hope that Dallas drafts this guy. We'll definitely take a look at where he goes. Yeah, hopefully Dallas takes this guy because that would be pretty funny if that is the case. Yeah, I think well, maybe I'll go with another forward. Because how much forwards have we taken in this draft? I've taken 2 defensemen. And if I take Malhotra in the 7th round, I'd be 3 forwards. And I've taken a goaltender. So I should technically take another defenseman in this portion of the draft. But this guy's a real player, and this guy's a real player. And I don't want to take real players, to be honest. So I think it comes down to maybe taking... Who was that guy that I was just mentioning? I think we could take Con because maybe you just get another goalie prospect in, and maybe this guy pans out a little bit better, and then we have another guy in the AHL. Do I get Brandon Con? Don't have a lot of time to decide. Or I could just go with another forward that's 17 years old, 5-year ETA. I think I'm going to take Con and just give us a little bit more depth in terms of our goaltending system, because maybe we could just have a good goaltender carousel. Or this guy could be a goalie for now, and then we could play the medium elite in the AHL, which might be a better option, because maybe that way his stats don't get destroyed because of how bad our team is going to be. So we'll bring in Brandon Con. He's a fringe starter goaltender, 52 overall, so I think we will definitely probably play the elite goalie in the AHL this season. If there's any goalie injuries, obviously you get called up, but I think that's a good move for our team to take another goaltender just in case. And then with our 7th round pick, I was saying Malhotra, because even though he has bottom 6 potential, this guy has a 3-year ETA, which is kind of intriguing, so he's probably a little bit of a higher overall. He's also 19, so he's probably like in the 60s or close to 60s, so that might be good. There's a potential X factor, but I really don't think this guy is an X factor. So yeah, we're gonna take the scouts rank have him like way out of this spot, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, we're gonna take Todd Malhotra. He's a small guy, so he might end up being a pretty solid offensive player for a bottom 6. But we'll see how good he is. He's a 63. That's actually pretty good. Like, we just want high overall players out of the draft to an extent. Like, it doesn't matter about potential sometimes, because maybe these guys will simulate well. Like, this guy's got 81 passing. He might simulate better than his potential suggests, so hopefully he could have a good upcoming year. So that is our draft, and yeah, hopefully those players could have a good season next year. Let me just take a look at where Dallas goalie went in the draft, because I will have to update Twitter where he went, because that guy is kind of interesting. Dallas goalie went to Minnesota. Damn, that sucks that he didn't go to Dallas. It would have been funny if he went there, but I guess it kind of is interesting that he went to Minnesota, considering the Minnesota North Stars turned into the Dallas Stars, so I guess you could say that something is kind of lining up there. But that is our draft, so pretty interesting draft. A lot of good prospects in for our team, and they'll all be in our NHL lineup, except for obviously that elite goalie. We'll probably play him in the AHL next season. Okay, so let's go do our unsigned players and sign those guys up. So, Jaskalainen, definitely going to be in the NHL next year. Same with Karostin. I'm excited for Karostin, I think, because being a 73 at 17 in top 6 potential, this guy's going to be a good goal scorer probably, and he might develop quite quickly next to a guy like Jaskalainen next season. Okay, and sign those defensemen up, and goaltending-wise, we'll sign our goalies. And then we'll let go of pretty much everybody that has a contract up for renewal that we didn't draft. That way we could free up some roster slots, because a lot of these guys' contracts weren't up. So, Ilstead, we'll release you, Olsen. And we'll probably end up, if we have contract room, signing like a couple players to play in the AHL for like $20 million or $15 million, whatever the max salary is. That way we don't run into cap problems like we were last season. And we let go of all these guys because we didn't draft a single one of them. And then we could just fill out the AHL with what we need. So let go of all those guys, and we are good. Which means I think once we get these guys all signed, we'll have 3 more contract spaces, so we should be able to sign like 3 players to ridiculous contracts, even if they're low overall. Let's just advance today and get all our unsigned guys. Okay, so we have 46 out of 50 contracts. Oh, didn't Con not accept? Oh, wait. Did I not offer Con a contract? I thought I did. Or, well, maybe I have too much goalies in my system. Which, if that is the case, I might have to... I don't know if I can buy out one of these goalies. Let me advance today and see if I can get Con. But this offer is not acceptable to me. Oh, I have a full roster, so yeah, I can't get Con in. So I'm going to have to probably somehow find a way to get rid of one of these guys. Can I buy them out? Like, can I just buy out this dude? Yeah, I can. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to buy out those guys, but we will buy him out to get Con in, because obviously that guy we didn't draft. And we want our drafted players in. And there we go. Perfect. We are good to go, and we have 41 million in cap space, which means we definitely need to sign a couple guys too with some big contracts. But let's see, what do we got for goaltenders? So it would be Janssen and Con in the NHL. AHL wise, would probably run with like any of these guys and Soderstrom. And then NHL wise, we have already 4 defensemen. I should actually just count how much we need. So we don't need any goalies. I know that for a fact. We can't even sign any goalies anyways. We got 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 2, 4, 6, 7. So we might actually be good on defense. Yeah, I don't think we need any defenders. Forward wise, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 5, 6. Yeah, we might actually be good in terms of our players. Like, we might just have to sign some guys to bad contracts just to have them scratched. Maybe I need more centers, though, because Parker Kelly's going to be in the minors because he's too good of a player. We got him in the expansion draft, so... But it would be like Jaskalainen, Kneisler, Dollar, and this Dorfer dude. Yeah, we might need some more centers, so we'll probably sign 3 more centers, and we'll sign them all to bad contracts, and they'll all play in the AHL next season. And then I don't think we'll pick up anything else in terms of free agents, because obviously we can't sign any good players. But we're just going to sign some really low overall players to ridiculous contracts, just to keep us at bay with the contract cap hit and stuff. So let's sign those up and get ourselves prepped up for next season. So we'll go to the lowest overall potential, and we need centers. So this Dadonov dude, I don't want to sign somebody with potential is the problem. I don't want to sign somebody that would have an ELC. So for example, we would sign Estrada. It has bottom 6. I don't want to sign anybody with potential, please. I could just sign some of these guys probably, because they could. This guy was with our team last season. I could probably just play this guy as a center. It doesn't really matter. So I'll offer him a contract, one-way deal, and you'll get $17 million for 1 year, which is absolutely ridiculous. But enjoy the money, man. Spend it on a mansion or something. And then we'll also sign a couple other forwards, like Bieri, and give him a one-way deal as well. Actually, I can't give him a one-way deal, apparently. I need to give somebody one-way deal that has not been has been drafted already. That's like 25. That's not a defenseman. Come on, where's a 25-year-old or a 23-year-old? There's one. Sign you up. One-way deal. Not a 7-year deal. 1 year at 17 million as well. And that should be actually good in terms of like getting us to the cap. Which means whoever we just sign next could just be a ELC kind of deal. So we'll just sign, no, that dude, he's got actual potential. We'll sign Olsen again, why not? We'll just give him a 1 year deal though. And we should be good in terms of our signings. So let's advance a few days, get ourselves prepped for next season, and we get them all perfect. Okay, so I'm going to just make a jump cut to us editing our lines, so I will see you guys in a second. Okay guys, so we are good to go for year number 2. So this is what our lineup looks like going into the season. So we got Morales, Jaskalainen, and Korostin, which I think actually looks pretty good, and it also actually has a chemistry. It has +1 overall, which is really good to see. So hopefully that top line could produce and get some really good development this year. Also, I did do best line, so it gives Malhotra second line ice time, which we will get some other guys into our top 6 as well that we drafted just to make it more of our drafted players up there. So there you go on that front. Move this guy there. Yeah, so basically Malhotra's there. We also got Goldobin up to a 63 and Holloway. And the rest of these guys are just guys that we've signed, I'm pretty sure. We also have Mikanov and Dubnik, so that's pretty nice. And Turris and Christopoulos, so those are our 4 defensemen we've drafted so far in this franchise mode. These guys are just some random guys we've signed. And then our goaltending tandem of Janssen and Kahn should be pretty interesting to see some more development. And actually, we need to put Cole Sim in the lineup because he was one of our draft picks as well. So we will take out Ekstrom and throw him in because we do need Cole Sim to be getting some ice time. And that actually has chemistry as well. So far, we're drafting pretty well, I think, considering we're getting actual some chemistry with our prospects. And we actually almost have a full forward lineup except for basically 3 centers and 2 wingers. It's pretty good. And then AHL-wise, we only have 1 player that we drafted so far, and that is Stefan Soderstrom. I just wanted to give him a little bit more time to develop, considering he's a low overall, and we do have multiple goalies in our system, so Soderstrom will be the backup to Dubois, who was our backup in the NHL last year. So overall-wise, I think our team is looking pretty good going into year number 2, technically, I guess, considering year number 1, or the first year was technically the expansion draft, so this is technically still year 2, though. But I think our team was looking pretty good. And I think, I feel like our top line is actually not going to be doing that bad offensively. I'm just more worried about these other lines, obviously. But I think we're starting to build up a pretty good overall basis, considering most players are in like the 60 overall plus range right now on our team. I should make sure these guys get some good ice time as well in the power play, which the power play looks actually not too bad either. A little bit worried about the chemistry there. But that first unit has all players we drafted except for Fischer, which I could try and change that around so we could get guys like Malhotra up there, which does seem to work. So I think I'll do that for now. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how this team does. Like Malhotra's passing, like I said, it's a lot better than it looks for a 7th rounder. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll sim all of year number 2, and hopefully once again we can get a good pick going into the first year draft, or not the first year draft, the second year draft. Considering this is the Connor Bedard draft, it would be nice to get obviously Connor Bedard, but there is some very good prospects probably in this draft as well that could help us out. There's a couple defensemen, which would be really good for us to get a defenseman, considering we definitely could use that help. So somebody like Thorborgler or Safronov might be the type of player we need. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.